Hi everyone, it's Irina from Money Borders. Subscribe and like the video. Exclusive interview from Moscow. Dr. Alfredo Jalife, a renowned geopolitical expert, wrote the book De-Globalization more than 20 years ago. Today, with Donald Trump's return, the US-China trade and economic wars, and the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, his predictions are coming true at an accelerated pace.
In Moscow, an open dialogue on multipolarity and de-globalization took place. We spoke with Alfredo Jalife, political scientist. Alfredo, good morning. We are very happy to see you in the studio. My first question is the following. Why did you agree to participate in this open dialogue? Why did you consider it important?
Thank you very much, first of all, because it was in Moscow, and now Russia is a very important country. Despite the sanctions and everything directed against it, it shows great economic growth. And the theme was very appealing because most of the titles dealt with the future of the new world. Which platform will we choose for the growth and positioning of BRICS and the global south? No?
A few years ago, you published a book titled De-Globalization. And now we are also talking about de-globalization here, because today it's a trend. One could say you're a visionary. Why is it important?
When I wrote the book almost 20 years ago, it was called De-Globalization and Regionalization. And that is happening now. Why did I think of this? Because I simply followed the trends of economic forces. It was a book about geoeconomics, and it was easy for me to see that globalization was in decline. No, it was no secret. It had many problems. Do you remember the short-term capital management crisis in 1997? It was a big crisis. After that, a year after I wrote the book, the Lehman Brothers bankruptcy occurred. So it was already anticipated that the world would lean towards deglobalization. Why? Two factors or pillars of globalization were the reduction of costs. But costs increased due to September 11th and outsourcing. And outsourcing is no longer profitable for the G7 because the Chinese won that battle. This was very important because China became the global manufacturer. And India, by the way, also managed its soft power very well. So the G7 was already losing this battle from a geoeconomic standpoint.
I know that last year you visited the BRICS forum in Kazan. In your opinion, what unites these countries now and what challenges do they face?
Look, in this open dialogue, there was a lot of talk about the BRICS and especially about the global south, which is now in vogue. Why? Because we only had two poles, the United States and China. So in Kazan, very cleverly, they did not enter into conflict with the United States. Now we see closer relations between Trump and Putin, and that is good for the world. The problem with the relations between Trump and Putin is that Trump thinks he can distance Russia from China. I don't see it that way because from a geoeconomic standpoint, they are complementary economies.
What other topics were discussed today that caught your attention?
There was a lot of talk about artificial intelligence, technology, psychology, communications. That's good. Especially this is good for the global south.
And if we talk specifically about Latin America and Mexico, how are technologies developing there?
Very bad, because education in the country is at a low level, and that is the foundation of development. And then come technologies. There can be no technologies without education. That is absurd. So in Latin America, only Brazil, which is part of BRICS, is developing very well. It is achieving it. But the other countries, unfortunately, are not in good conditions. We have many mineral resources. For example, in Venezuela, there is a lot of oil, yes, but they need education and technologies. they wanted to join the BRICS, but Brazil did not allow it. Can you imagine? Mexico is not part of the BRICS. I even joke saying that maybe the United States will join the BRICS before Mexico, because the United States will not allow us to join the BRICS. Now, the United States wants us to break our economic relations with China, and they have already won that battle.
Alfredo, thank you very much. I wish you luck. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
Crédito Dr. Alfredo Jalife and RT. We'll keep you posted until next time.